Hello, my name is MooingCat and welcome to another beta recap. This time we have quite a lot of exciting things to talk about. I'll first go through some changes or some updates to the St. Patrick's Day event. Then finally we have some more information about the Guild expedition. We have 7 new buildings for the wildlife event. And we also have some more assets for the pirate event. So that's what I'll go through in this video. If you want to skip ahead to a certain section, you can use the timestamps in the description. This time though, I will actually start with the daily changelog because we do have some interesting things here. So on Tuesday, last week now, recording this on Monday the week after, we have done some balancing changes to the St. Patrick's Day event and buildings. More information on the event will follow soon. So there have been some changes that they have mentioned here, and it'll be interesting to see what they are in the future. Hopefully we will learn some more next week. I assume the event will start not this week, but the week after, so in 10, 12 days, something like that probably. So yeah, we'll see. Anyways, the Druid Hut's random fragment production has been changed from 40% Tree of Silence, 40% Tree of Patience, and 20% Tree of Vitality to 70% Tree of Patience and 30% Tree of Vitality. So, as you can see, the Tree of Silence, the Tree of Silence has actually been removed as a fragment. Additionally, the Tree of Silence has also been changed. It has been changed to, I'll just skip the from, it has been changed to a 50% chance of 4 forge points, so 2 forge points per day on average, 50% chance of 2 fragments for renovation kit, so 1 fragment on average per day, and between 2 and 4% attack for defending army, and 1 to 2% attack for attacking army. So if we go here, we can see that the Tree of Silence now gives attack, which is quite a big deal. And it also gives more forge points than it did before. It was, I believe, 1 per day on average, or even below 1 per day. So this has been buffed significantly, been made quite a lot better. But you can't get it anymore from the Druid Hut. So now you can only get it from the event. And I imagine also as next year during the event, probably as a daily or after town reward. So yeah, you can't get more after the event, at least for now, until next year, unlike the 2 other ones. So that's quite a big deal. It does still require a road, so even though 2% for 1 tile is very good, you do have to factor in a road, which I think we can actually be a bit nice and say that you connect, or that the road that this is connected to count for 3 buildings. So imagine you have buildings on both sides of a road, then at the end of that road you can place one of these. I think that's going to be quite a popular way to do it. In that case you only need a third of a road if you count the other 2 buildings, which means it will be around 1.5 attack per tile, which is quite good. And you also do get a lot of forge points. So I do think it's a really good building. The Tree of Vitality hasn't been changed, I think. It's still the same, but yeah, definitely very good. 2% attack and defense, plus a piece of forge point. And because of the changes here, the chance of getting the Tree of Vitality has gone up from, or gone up to 30 from 20%. The highlighting thing I'm using here is a little bit annoying. Sorry about that. So yeah, you do also get an increased chance of getting this Tree of Vitality from the Druid Hut. So overall, I do think this change is quite a good one. So I guess the TLDR is that it made one of the trees a lot better, but you can't get it anymore from the Druid Hut. But yeah, it wasn't really worth getting before. So overall, I think that's a good change. I am a bit worried about what the other changes that they haven't specified might be. Hopefully they are not too bad, because right now I think the event is in a relatively good place. Anyways, when they made this update, you might have heard that they removed the fragment for the last level from the level 9 hut. That was a bug. It was confirmed on the day, and it has since been changed back again to the old mechanics. So now you do still get a fragment for the final level from the level 9 Druid Hut. which was one of the big changes they made a couple of weeks ago. Anyways, on Friday, they also made this rather cryptic change. We have made some performance improvements for when we start a new event. So every now and then, or I guess actually quite often, when they started events, it would be a bit buggy sometimes. You often had to reload. Sometimes it disappeared all of a sudden and you had to reload them. Yeah, in general, launching of events wasn't always that smooth. So hopefully these changes, whatever they might have been, improve that going forward. Alright, so that's it for the changelog and the St. Patrick's Day changes. And yeah, we'll see next week or in the future what else they change about the St. Patrick's Day event. Let's move on to spoilers. So, first of all, Guild Expedition, where we do have some new stuff. First of all, the decoration version of this building here has been changed. It is now a ruin, which to me confirms the speculation that we already had, that this is a limited building. So that means that it is active for a certain period, perhaps, or a certain number of collections before it is destroyed. That's at least how all the other limited buildings work. I think one very interesting mechanic could be that it is only active when Guild Expedition is active, for example. That could be a really cool mechanic. Or alternatively, it's only active if you complete Guild Expedition level 5, for example. I think something like that would be really cool. And I guess that's what I'm hoping. But yeah, if it is just a regular limited building, it'll probably be just based on number of days or number of collections or something like that. But yeah, we don't know any stats, of course. Yeah, most likely a limited building. All right, now I'll get back to this. The fortifications here, well, the images have been updated slightly. Don't think there's anything too important, but yeah, they have been updated slightly. But we do have some information texts here that tells us a little bit more about how these will work. So the first one here, deactivate the confirmation window that appears when you have at least one unused fortification building slot left per encounter. This only applies to the 5th level of the Guild Expedition. And also, for this encounter, there is at least one empty slot left to build a fortification. Are you sure you want to continue? So it seems like for each encounter in Guild Expedition level 5, you will be able to build a certain number of fortifications. And probably based on what you build, you will get some reward. As for the cost of these, it will most likely be your goods, and this will most likely be personal to you, so not a guild feature. So you pay some goods to build these, I guess similar to the guild battlegrounds, except it's your own resources, and I imagine quite a lot less than what you pay in Guild Expedition. Now I think that's a quite interesting mechanic. I'm really curious to see how they balance this, because if these cost a lot, then they would have to give a lot of things in return to actually be worth it. But if they are OP, then I don't know. So they have to find a balance there, where what I hope they don't do is that they balance them so that basically you just ignore them and play through. So hopefully they are worth building. That's something I think will be a bit challenging for them to figure out, but hopefully they do figure it out. Now, we also have some new achievements. We have Impressive Architect, Impressive Defender, and Impressive Pinacho. Now, Nova speculated that this one is for building fortification, which I think makes sense. This one is for completing a certain number of level 5s, similar to the one we have right now for completing the level 4, the Volcano achievement. Now this, Impressive Defender. That brings me back to this info screen here we have, where we have this defense boost or city defense icon. So, based on that, there's been quite a lot of speculation that the defense boost will play a role, perhaps a big role, in Guild Expedition level 5, which will be, well, it'll be very interesting to see how that plays into it. Because right now, I'm sure most of you know that city defense is quite worthless. You're much better off using the space for other things. So if it becomes useful here, that'll be interesting. And if it is required to have some defense boost to actually complete Guild Expedition level 5, then they do also have to make it worth it to actually complete it. Because, well, if they make it impossible to get through unless you have a decent amount of defense boost, and it doesn't give anything particularly good, then I think most people would just ignore it and continue building attack. But yeah, again, something they have to figure out how to balance. But if you do need defense boost, that'll be, I think, quite interesting, depending on how they implement it, of course. And back to this, that it might have something to do, well, with that. Defending, I don't know, it seems like you might be able to defend encounters, which I don't know what exactly that will mean. I guess that's something we will see. So yeah, in general, a bit of movement here. We get a bit more information this time. But yeah, still no official information about when the new level will be released. It will probably not be this week, because we would probably hear something by now. Again, I'm recording this on Monday afternoon. So, I don't know, perhaps next week, perhaps a little bit later as well, but hopefully not that far away now. Alright, let's move on to the wildlife event, where we have quite a lot of new stuff. So, as I mentioned, we have 7 buildings. I think we knew that from last time, based on these, or at least 6 of them. So let's go through all. First of all, we have the main building. It has 10 levels. Here is at level 10. Here we have all the other levels. And as Nova, eagle-eyed Nova pointed out, each of these have a certain number of pandas. And if you count them, level 1 have 1 panda, level 2 have 2, level 3 have 3, and so on. Right now the level 10 doesn't have any, but animated it probably will have 10. That's, yeah, it'll probably have 10 pandas, so that's nice. So that's the first building. Then we have 3 chain buildings. Now each of these chain buildings have 2 variations. So yeah, it is 3, it's not 6 chain buildings. But it's chain buildings, and they will be chained below the building. There was some speculation that they might be on the northern side of the building, which I think would be quite cool. But as we can see here in the loading screen, it is indeed below the main building. So yeah, there we go. That is 4 buildings. Now we also have 2 probably standalone buildings, each with 2 levels. Don't really know anything about them really, or what they give. But yeah, they are 2 standalone buildings with 2 levels. Then finally, the 7th building is, well, it's a limited building, so not really that interesting. Probably will be, I don't know what it will give. But again, limited buildings, they are active for a certain time period, or a certain number of collections before they are inactive again. So yeah, and also to be quite honest, if we here Nova made a nice image here combining all of them. To be quite honest, I am not a big fan of the styling here. I don't think they mix too well. I don't think the chain buildings fit too well to the main building. I don't really think these 2 standalone buildings fit into the design of the other 2. This kind of reminds me of kind of colder forests, and this, well, reminds me a bit more about the cherry set, I suppose, which is kind of in the same style as this, but I don't know, I just think they clash a little bit. And then the limited building here, it reminds me of one of those decorations we had ages ago from events, like the trophy, for example, in the Forge Ball event, I think it is. It reminds me of those buildings, and I don't know, I don't really like the style of it, and I don't think it fits too well. So yeah, I don't know. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. In these here buildings, at least the level 1 I thought it was at level 2 as well, but yeah, at least in the level 1 building, you can see some red pandas, which of course I really like. Find that really exciting, of course. It's my avatar, in case you didn't know, on YouTube and everywhere else. I have this rather angry one on the forum, but yeah, I quite like red pandas, so that's the one I choose, even though my name is MooingCat. So yeah, of course, really excited to see that. Hopefully the buildings are good, but yeah, who knows. Anyways, we do also have some loading screens and info screens. So here we can kind of see the buildings, some pandas. So this, well, I'm guessing this then is Chinese, inspired by Chinese designs. So yeah, I really like this, the loading screen. But again, I'm not a big fan of the look of the building. I don't know. I don't think it fits too well together with all the other buildings. But here we have the chain building with the chains going down, as you can see here. Here we have the 3 other buildings, and yeah, here we can see more of the red pandas. Interesting that they don't appear in these assets here. But yeah, here we can see a lot more red pandas, which I quite like, of course. And yeah. So yeah, I don't really mind them as standalone buildings, but yeah, I don't think they fit too well with the other buildings. Alright, so here we have some info screens, and well, based on this, it seems like the mechanics have not been changed, which personally I don't mind that much. I quite like the mechanics, but I'm probably in the minority there. So yeah, no changes there, it seems. So that's all we have for now from the wildlife event, but quite a lot of stuff to think about, talk about. And yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see when this is released. Oh, and by the way, the golden upgrade kit that yeah, continues. I think we knew that last time as well, so that's unfortunate. Anyways, let's move on to the pirate event. So last time I talked about this for the first time. Seems to be a brand new event, although it does seem to replace the summer event. Here we have the info screen, and this reminds me very much of the info screen from the summer event, or the main building from the last year's summer event. The Buccaneers, I think, boathouse, and the boathouse. That's it. So it definitely reminds me of the boathouse from last year. So yeah, definitely same style. We have some pieces now, which is interesting. The wallpaper here has also been upgraded slightly inside here. So yeah, we have this legend inside here. A little bit cryptic, but yeah, it looks like 10 doubloons for one tile, perhaps, or one piece. That generates one of these, whatever that might be, which perhaps progresses 1 to 3 steps towards the grand prize, probably. That would be my guess for the final one. So yeah, that's interesting. We also have a HUD now. Nothing too special about that. Here we see the same person or avatar as we saw a little bit, as we'll see a little bit later on. A lot of this does still appear to be placeholders. They did remove a couple of assets, actually. The naming of them, there was actually a typo in them. It was called calendar, with ER at the end, not AR. So they did remove a few assets, and they have replaced some, but not all yet. So here we have the chest, definitely still a placeholder. This legend here for the calendar that we saw last time, that has been removed, not replaced yet. So it will be interesting to see what that is replaced with. The background for the calendar has been replaced, and has been replaced by this much smoother version. And to be quite honest, I think I prefer the look here of this kind of sketchy look here. I think this looks really cool. And same thing with the stones we saw from last year. Some of them have been updated. They're now called boxes. These are probably the pieces you place in the calendar as you get them each day. And again, here we see a much more simple look. And again, I prefer the old look. These kind of sketchy drawings. I don't know. I think the smooth look looks a little bit too smooth, if you ask me. But yeah, I do still, in general, quite like the look of the event. The key here, the calendar key, that's nothing new there. For the piggy bank, not really a lot new here either. This was updated, but I don't really see any difference from last year, last week. So that's not changed. When it comes to the shop, we have quite a lot of the balloon packages now, which I don't know, I guess is interesting. Not really. So yeah, you can probably buy. Well, these are probably in the event. The balloon packages here are probably in the event to use diamonds to buy event currency, and all of these are to use real money to buy currency directly. That would be my guess. For the event pass, we do have some new stuff. We have some backgrounds and chests and so on. We have this quite cool looking banner, if you ask me. But yeah, other than that, not a lot more new. So yeah, slowly moving forward here as well, I suppose, with some new assets. And I guess during the week we will probably get some more of these that are still placeholder assets. I imagine we will get them. And perhaps some information texts would be nice, perhaps some unblurred info screens and so on. So yeah, definitely a lot to look forward to going forward. And yeah, hopefully next weekend I will be able to have quite a lot of more information on all of these. But who knows? Anyways, I think that's it for this video. Before I end, let me thank my Patreons for their support. I would like to thank Comstar, Fortifications, Lorden, Rokonobin, Kim Kelly, Rolf the 8th, PQ the Goat, Dan Suminad, JT, Chanty, Merrick B, Hugo Kant von Count, Jan Fredriksen, Drew the Journalist, Hilda, Susan Weiss, Rocco, Berthen Emrys, Henrik Derek Kleber, Mathieu, Obshidi Obsessed, Raph, Adarel, Mike, Wolfboy, Atomic, Ruth, Flavius Belisarius, and Karen. Thanks a lot for your support. Thanks for watching, take care, and I will see you in the future.